Last session, right? So we started discussing about the user management where so we have seen how to create a user and what is the difference between user and a role, and we started discussing about the privileges as well, right? So in the today's class we are going to, so in the last class we discussed about the database level privilege where a user should have a connect and database privilege to connect to the database, and he should have a create and database privilege to create the schemas on the database, and he should have the temp and database privilege to create the temporary objects on the database or temporary tables on the database. So now in today's class we are going to discuss about the schema level privileges. Okay. One minute. Hello. Umesh. Yeah, good. So schema level privileges. Okay, we are going to discuss about what are the kind of privileges, okay, that we are going to have in the schema to create the objects on the schema. Okay, so the today's topic is schema level privileges. So what a user, so let's say I have a user called Hari. What are all the privileges Hari should have to create some objects on the schema? And if you want to have a better understanding of data Postgres database management, the only point that you need to remember is you need to remember that in Postgres cluster it contains one or more databases, and each database contains one or more schemas, and you know like each schema contains one or more database objects. So in order to create some objects on the schema, what are all the privileges that user should have? That is what we are going to discuss now. So let me connect to the Postgres database using putty. So let me log into the Postgres database and let me check what are the users that we have. I have a user called Hari. Okay. Now let me log into the EDW database. Okay. In the another session, I'm logging in as a Hari user. Okay. Now what I'll do, right, in the in the Hari user I have a schema called edw underscore l. So to have a better understanding, just I'll create one more schema. I'm from using Postgres. So don't get confused between these two screens. Okay, let me change the color of the user Hari so that it will be very easy for you to understand. Color default background. So when you see a red color, which means it is a Hari screen. When you see a black color, it is a Postgres user who is a super user. So now I am creating one schema called create schema edw underscore app. Okay, now what I'll do, right, on the other screen I logged in as a Hari user and I'll try to create some table. Create table. How to create a table in a particular schema? You need to append schema name dot table name, right? So edw underscore app dot test n space var of 100. Okay, what is the error that you are getting? You are getting an error called permission denied for a schema edw underscore app. So how can you check the schema level privileges? So how to check the schemas that are available in the particular database? /dn is a command to list the schemas that are available in the Postgres data on a particular database, and /dn plus will give you the detailed listing along with the privileges. So on which schema Hari user is trying to create objects on the edw underscore app schema. So there are no privileges. And what is the other way to check? So what is the data dictionary related to the schemas? Pg underscore namespace, right? So pg underscore namespace is a data dictionary which contains the information about schemas in the particular database. Now select nsp name comma, okay, nspacl, 1 minute. Select nsp name comma nspacl from pg underscore namespace. Okay, select nsp name comma nspacl from pg underscore namespace, where what for which schema we are trying to check. Nsp name equal to edw underscore app. It's not showing anything. So now what I'm trying to do, right? So in order to, so any user other than a schema owner or super user, if he wants to create some objects, okay, if he wants to create some objects on the particular schema, then the user should have create on schema privilege. Create on schema privilege. So it is represented with capital C. So now let me grant the privilege. Grant create on schema. Okay, grant create on schema. What is the schema name? edw underscore app to. What is the username? Hari. Grant privilege to user. Grant create on schema edw underscore app to user. Now let me do like slash dn plus edw underscore app. If you see, the user Hari is granted with the create and schema privilege. Who granted this? Postgres user. Grantee equal to privileges by grantor. So the user, the super user Postgres has granted create and schema privilege to the user Hari. Now on the another screen, let me try to create that object now. Create table edw underscore app dot text and varchar 2 of 100. Sorry. See, I am able to create now. So now let me try to insert some data. Insert into edw underscore app dot test. This is for testing. Insert, oh sorry. What is the syntax? Insert into edw underscore test values. What is the error that you are getting? 1 minute. Let me redo this because insert into edw underscore test app. Insert into edw underscore app dot test values. This is for testing. What is the error that you are getting? You are getting an error saying permission denied for schema edw underscore app again. So who is the owner of this table test? Hari is the owner of this table test again, but it is throwing in another error called when you are trying to insert the data, you are getting an error called permission denied. Let me try to select the data. Select star from edw underscore app dot test. Permission denied for the schema. You are not able to do anything. You are not able to do what? You are not able to do anything on the schema because whether he is a owner or whether he is having any privilege on the table, the user should have usage on schema privilege. So though you provide, okay, though you, so let's say you wanted to provide a select on, you wanted to provide a read access on the table, simply you will grant a grant select on schema name dot table name to username, okay, schema name dot table name to user. That will not be enough. The user should have usage on schema privilege irrespective of the privilege whatever the user is looking for on a particular table, irrespective of that, user must be granted with the usage and schema privilege. So usage and schema, without providing the usage and schema privilege, user will not be able to access the objects, though he has the access to do so. So though he has the access, user will be not able to access the objects. So the one must privilege that user should have is a usage and schema privilege. How can you do that? Grant usage on schema edw underscore app to username Hari. So if you see, let me do like slash dn plus what is the schema name, edw underscore app. When I do this, so Hari user is granted with the usage and create on schema edw underscore app by the Postgres user. Now let me, in the another session, now let me try to select the data. Select star from edw underscore app dot text. See, he is able to select. Now let me try to insert. So he is able to insert as well. So that's how usage access privilege. So irrespective of the privileges that a user is having in a schema, the user should have usage and schema privilege. Then only the privilege will get effective. Now let me try to select the data. Select start from edw underscore app dot test. Okay, you are able to select the data now. So what are the privileges that user should have on the schema? User should have on the create and schema privilege, and user should have usage and schema privilege. These two privileges we can grant it together using, so let's say I have a user called demo. I can grant all the privileges and schema with a single command. The command is grant all on schema. Okay, grant all on schema edw underscore app. So edw underscore app is a what? It is a schema name. Grant all on schema edw underscore app to username. Which, what is the username? Username is Hari. So when you do this, all the privilege, which means usage and create privilege in a single command will be executed. Okay, grant all on schema edw underscore app to demo. When you do this, slash dn plus edw underscore app, see, the demo user is granted with usage and create privilege on the schema. So far we have discussed about the database level privileges. Like this, you need to remember, we have discussed about the database level privileges, and we have discussed about the schema level privileges. So what is the database level privilege we have? We have a create on database. We have a create on database, and we have connect on database. We have temp on database. Okay, so we have a create on database, we have a connect on database, and we have a temp on database. So on the schema level, what are the privileges that we have? We have a create on schema, and we have usage on schema. So what is that? We have a create on schema, and we have usage on schema. And the next point that we are going to discuss is, we are going to discuss about the object level privileges. When I say object level privilege, we are going to discuss about the table level privileges. We are going to discuss about the functions and procedure level. And we are also going to discuss about the sequence level privileges. Okay, these are the discussions that we are going to do to understand So this is the discussion that we are going to do to understand the privilege management concept in Postgres. To start with object level privileges, so we are going to discuss about the table level privileges. Okay, so when I say table, okay, now if you want to create a table on a particular database or particular schema, the user should have what create and schema privilege. So now I am in the EDW database. Now I am trying to create some table. Create table. Okay, create table EDW underscore app dot. Okay, EDW underscore app dot training. Okay, n space var of 100. So who is the owner of this table? How can we check? If you remember, there is a data dictionary called pg underscore tables. From this you can check the all the details. Select schema name comma table name comma table owner from pg underscore tables where table name equal to what is the table name? Training. So who is the owner? Table owner is a Postgres. In the another session through which I logged in as a Hurry user, I am trying to insert some data. Insert into edw underscore app dot training. Okay, edw underscore app dot training values inserting as Hurry user. Permission denied for a table training. So user has usage and schema privilege. Already the user Hurry has usage and schema privilege. The only error that we are getting is insert and permission denied for table training. So how can we check the table level permissions? How can we check the table level permissions is /d/dp plus schema name dot table name. This is how you can check the table level privilege. Otherwise, there is another option where /d role underscore table underscore grants. One minute. /d information underscore schema. Information underscore schema is a one of the catalog schema. Role underscore table underscore privileges. 1 minute. Role and information underscore schema at role underscore table underscore privilege. 1 minute. Role underscore table. Let me check role underscore table underscore grants as well. 1 minute. Yes. Role underscore table underscore grants. So select grantor, comma. Okay. Grantee, comma. Grantor means who has granted the privileges. Grantee means to whom we have granted the privileges. And table name, comma privilege type from p information underscore schema is a catalog schema. Information underscore schema dot role underscore table underscore grants where what is the table name? Where table name equal to training. Where what is the table underscore name? Sorry. Where table underscore name equal to so if you see there is a training table. So as the Postgres is the owner of this table, right? So who is the owner of this table? If you see here, who is the owner of the table? Let me go up. Who is the owner of the table? The table owner is Postgres. So as the Postgres is the owner, he is having insert, select, update, delete, truncate, reference and trigger. Every privilege is there. But do you see any privilege for the Hurry user? No. So that is the reason why here when you are trying to insert some data onto the table, it is getting errored out. So what I'll do, how can we grant the privilege? Grant. Okay, how can I grant the privilege? Grant insert on table schema name dot table name. Grant insert on table schema name dot table name to username. Okay, this is how you need to grant the privileges to a particular user on a particular table. Grant insert on table schema name dot table name. What is the schema name? What is the schema name? edw underscore app dot training. Grant insert on table edw underscore app dot training to what is the user? Hurry user. So I have granted now. Now let, and how you will define insert privilege, right? So for a table, insert privilege is represented with a, which is like append. Okay, now how can we check? Slash dp plus edw underscore app dot training. This is how you can check training. This is how you can check. See, Hari user is granted with the A, which is a insert privilege. Otherwise, you can check with this command as well. Select grantor, comma, grantee, comma, table name, comma, privilege type from information underscore schema dot role underscore table underscore grants. So if you see, the Hari user is granted with, so who is the grantor? Postgres, insert, granted with the insert privilege. So as it is granted with the insert privilege, now Hari must be able to do what? Insert. Let me try to check. Yes, he is able to insert. Now let me try to select the data. Select star from. Okay, select star from edw underscore app dot training. Permission denied for the table training because he doesn't have a select access. Now how can we grant the select access? Select access on the table is represented with, select access on the table is represented with small r. Grant select on table edw underscore app dot training to Hari. You have granted now. Now let me try to check whether the user is able to get the data or not. Select star from edw underscore app dot training. See, user is able to get the data. Now let me try to update. Update edw underscore app dot training set n equal to, this is for update query. Sorry, edw underscore app dot training. Permission denied. Why? He doesn't have a update privilege. Update on a table is represented with w. Okay, grant update on table edw underscore app dot training to Hari. So now let me try to update. Yes, he's able to update. Now let me try to delete some data. Delete from, okay, edw underscore app dot training. He is not able to do. So delete privilege is represented with small d. So now let me do one thing. On the other command line, grant delete on table edw underscore app dot training to Hari. Now let me do like slash dp slash dp plus edw underscore app dot. Okay, see the hurry user having insert privilege, select privilege, w is update privilege, d is for small d is for delete privilege. Now let me check whether he is able to delete or not. Yes, he is able to delete. Now let me try to truncate table edw underscore app dot training, permission denied for a table training. So now let me do this. Okay, so truncate privilege on table is represented with capital D. Grant truncate on table edw underscore app dot training, grant truncate on table edw underscore app dot training to hurry. So let me do like slash dp plus edw underscore app underscore training. So it is represented with capital D. Okay, now he must be able to truncate it. See, this is how you need to grant the privilege. So will you be able to grant all the privileges together? Yes, we can grant all the privileges together. How can we do that? Like, how can we do that, right? So grant all on table schema name dot table name. Grant all on table schema name dot table name to user. Grant all on table schema name dot table name to username. So let's say instead of hurry I log in as a demo user. Okay, right now select star from edw underscore app dot training. How I am able to do this? Sorry, again I logged in as a demo hurry user only. No, let me log in as a demo user. Okay, now let me do like select star from edw underscore app dot training, permission denied. So instead of providing the privilege one by one, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to grant all the privileges in a single point. Okay, grant all on table edw underscore app dot training to demo user. Okay, I have granted everything. If you do slash dp plus edw underscore app dot training, see, he is having all the privileges. Now let me check here whether he is able to select it or not. See, he is able to do that. This is how you can grant the privileges. And the next scenario that we are going to see, right? So we have a schema called edw underscore app, which contains like 10 tables: T1, T2, T3, T4, and so on, T10. How can we grant the privileges on all the tables in a single point, right? Grant select on all tables in schema name. Grant select on all tables in schema name to username. So this will give you the select access. If you want to insert, in place of select you need to give insert. If you want to delete, you have to give delete. If you want to truncate, you have to give truncate. So then what happens? Instead of providing the privileges table by table, it is going to give privileges on all tables in a particular schema to that user. And one more thing that we can do is, instead of select, instead of delete, truncate separately, if you want to give it an all together, then grant all on all tables, grant all on all tables in schema name, grant all on all tables in schema name to username. Okay, grant all on all tables in schema name to username. So this is going to provide all the privileges on all tables in the schema which is mentioned using schema name to that particular user. So this is about the table level privileges. What else we are pending with is like, so if you want to access a sequence, I mean me you means we are not the ones who is going to access the sequences, the developers are going to access the sequences, then we have to provide grant usage and schema grant usage. This I can't show you because we have to create the sequences and all. Okay, grant usage and schema, sorry, usage and schema name dot sequence name to username. This is how you can provide the privilege on a particular sequence. How can we check that? Slash d role underscore usage underscore grants, sorry, slash d information underscore schema dot role underscore usage underscore grants. See, grantor comma grantee comma privilege type. Okay, grantor comma grantee comma privilege type will give you the information about the all the usage level privilege that user is having. And the next and last privilege type that we are going to discuss is in a Postgres we have a concept of functions and procedures. In Postgres we don't have a packages thing, only functions and procedures are there. If someone is saying like they are not able to access or then they are not able to execute the function, then you need to provide grant execute on function, grant execute on function to that username, grant execute on function schema name that function name to username. How can we check that? How can we check that is slash dpg underscore pg underscore information, sorry, slash d information underscore schema dot role underscore routine underscore privileges. Okay, 1 minute. Role underscore routine underscore privilege, role underscore routine underscore grants. Yes, grantor comma grantee comma routine. Routine can be either it is a procedure or function, and privilege type should be in execute. This is how you will grant the privileges for a particular objects on a particular schema. Okay, now the next thing and the last thing that we are going to discuss in the users and privilege management is how you are going to manage the, this is one of the interview question as well, how you are going to manage the privileges in your environment, how you manage, how you manage privileges. So how we are going to manage the privileges in your environment? So whenever someone asks you about this, you need to explain like, so whenever, so how we will do, right? So whenever we create any schema in a particular database, let's say I'm going to create a schema called edw underscore app. So this is what schema name. So whenever you create any schema in a particular database, along with the schema, we are going to create two roles. One is edw schema name dot looker, edw underscore app underscore looker. We are going to create two roles. One is edw underscore app underscore looker, and the second one is edw underscore app underscore updater. So understand carefully. Whenever we get a request to create a schema, we will create, okay, we will create two roles along with that. One is a schema name dot looker and second one is a schema name dot updater. schema name underscore updater. So we will grant select access on all tables in the schema edw underscore app to edw underscore app underscore liquor, and we are also going to provide execute on all functions in schema edw underscore app to edw underscore app underscore looker, so that in future if someone wants to have a read-only access on that schema, simply we will grant that role to the user, grant edw underscore app underscore looker to the username. So likewise edw underscore app underscore updater is a role which contains the info. So we are going to grant insert, update, delete, truncate on all tables in schema edw underscore app to edw underscore app underscore updater, and we will also grant the execute privileges on all the functions to this updater role. And if someone needs, read write action in a particular schema, simply we will grant this role to the user who wants to have the read write access on the particular schema. This is how we are going to manage the privileges on a environment. So with this we have completed the concepts of users and privilege management. In the next session we are going to discuss about archive log mode in Postgres. What is that? Archive log mode in Postgres. So that's it for today. Any doubts?